Alright, welcome back to JT Channel, everybody, and welcome to a very special video. You can tell by the hat and maybe even the shirt that we're going to talk a little bit about Pride Month and a little bit about what it means to me. I don't wear hats indoors usually. This is the Love is Love hat. I got this from Walmart. But I'm going to jump right into it. As I did at the beginning of the month, of course we are supporters. I had to fix the camera angle. We are allies here on JT Channel, but not only are we allies, I am a member of the community. I am non-binary, I am pansexual, and I'm even polyamorous. And I'm going to kind of talk you through how all this came about, when I came out, the struggles I've had since I've come out, etc., etc. So let's, again, like I said, let's dive right into it. I've shown off my hat and my shirt. So growing up, I've always known I was different. I always wanted more girly things, and if video games had the option to be a girl character, I wanted to be the girl character, but not because I was a weirdo or a pervert, but just because I liked their outfits better and their makeup and their hair and stuff like that. And I've always been like that. Of course, people always thought I was gay. I'm not outright gay, but I always liked girly things, and it was about 2008. Kind of zoom through that first part. 2008, I was hanging out. I had two gay friends named Kyle and Gideon. And I liked them, especially Kyle. I actually really liked Kyle, but I didn't understand because I also really liked girls too. And I was like, why do I like this guy? And then I talked to Gideon, who had been gay like as long as he could remember. And he was like, look, man, you're probably bi. And it's okay, you can be bi. And I was like, can I be bi? So I really wanted to tell my dad and my stepmom. We were living with them at the time, and my brother. I wanted them all to know we were in a hardware store, which is terrifying. Hardware stores are terrifying. I just don't know which one it was. When I just kind of blurted it out, I was like, Dad, Lynn's my stepmom. I said, I'm pretty sure I'm bisexual, or I just said I'm bi or something like that. And they like instantly like got embarrassed. Somebody, shh, you can't say that in a store. And then we got in the car, and they said I embarrassed them, and I shouldn't have shouted that out loud, and there's no way I'm actually bi because I wouldn't just blurt that out in the middle of a store. What they didn't realize is the reason I blurted it out is because I was scared. I didn't know how else to tell people. Coming out as bi was really weird around that time. Again, it was 2008, maybe 2007. And there's no ill will towards my dad and stepmom. They didn't understand at the time, and neither did I. But because of their reactions, excuse me, I kind of shut down and was just like, I'm straight. Vagina all the way. And that's how I acted for a very long time. I would make jokes about guys being attractive, like actors and stuff like that. And I'd make Johnny Sins jokes. If you know who Johnny Sins is, you're going to hell. It's okay, I'll be there with you. But basically, as years went on, I just kind of buried my bisexuality. I was still not cis or hetero. People could tell that. I could tell that. But I didn't know how to word it, and I was scared. Fast forward to 2018, I'm with my ex-wife. We were both big weed smokers at the time. I'm very green friendly on this channel. You won't ever see me smoke it. It's not legal in Tennessee. So I have 2 seconds. I have a CBD vape that's mostly for like my anger and stuff because I had anger problems. But one night while we were smoking, I made a joke about being bi, and I had made many jokes about being bi with her, and so had she. But then I was like, no, I'm not joking. I'm serious. I'm bi. I've been bi for as long as I can remember, 10 or so years at this point, that I realized I was bi. And she kind of got upset because she always thought I was joking, but then she was like, she accepted me at the time as I was, and the very next day, I came out on Facebook, and to the world, basically. I just did it. I just was like, guess what? I'm bi. And it felt really good to come out as bi. Like I said, it was 2018. It was basically 10 years since I had realized I was bi. It took me 10. I started to come out, and then my parents overreacted, and so I threw myself back in the closet. And it took me 10 years to come out. So don't worry if you're taking your time coming out. If you see this video, take your time. Do it when you're comfortable. Me posting it on Facebook was so much easier. Social media has made stuff like this so much easier. I don't have to like walk into my parents and sit down and explain all this and have them judge me the whole time. I can just make a post and not give a shit what anybody says. So fast forward again, me and my ex-wife, we divorced. Now I'm remarried, and my current wife wants me to be the most me possible. Now the reason she's like this is because while she is straight and heterosexual, she's the straightest, most heterosexual woman I know. She'll comment on like actresses and friends and stuff, but she doesn't have any sexual or romantic interest in women or any other genders or anybody else. She's actually a demi-gray sexual. Look it up. Basically, she isn't exactly like everyone else in her family. Like, her family are mostly conservative Christians, or at most Christians. She is none of those things. She is very much a gothic girl. She's not Christian. She's very different from her family, and they used to shun her for it. And because I didn't, that's part of why we fell in love. Is I loved her the way she was. She lets me be me. Last year, I had lots of questions about myself over the last several years. Actually, in 2019, backtrack a little bit. Me and my ex got in such a big fight. I wanted to leave. I wanted to unalive, I guess is the phrase. I mentioned that in a past video about mental health last month, or 2 months ago. Anyway, but instead I decided to look into transition surgery, into top and bottom. I was like, I don't want to actually do that. I have personal vendettas against unaliving. So I was like, what if I just killed Jared and became somebody else, became a girl? And I really liked that idea. Now that was November, December of 19. Those thoughts were always there. And last year, I started to really open up and be myself. I started to wear girl colors, and I actually have a bunch of women's t-shirts that I like, and brighter colors instead of just wearing black all the time, because it's not just a phase. I still have lots of black clothes. But then last June, during Pride Month, I realized, last year before Pride Month, I realized that I wasn't just a guy, a man. I hated the man label, the dude label. Well, dude can be considered gender neutral. I don't want to get into that argument. And then while I was watching Monster High, the movie, I really connected with the character Frankie Stein, played by non-binary person Cece Balagot, who goes by he, them. I started following them on like Instagram. They are really wonderful, and they have just a bright energy about them. And I realized that that's who I am. They helped me realize that I am non-binary. I'm not doing it to be cool because they are. There's plenty of, I could probably run you through a list of non-binary famous people that I could say, hey, I wanted to be cool like them. But there was something special about Cece Balagot, and more specifically, their portrayal of the character Frankie Stein. I was even Frankie Stein for Halloween last year because I loved the portrayal that much. I was also Taylor Swift. Anyway, God. So on June 12th, I like the significance of 6/12. I came out as non-binary. All of my friends accepted me. I have a friend from the military whose name is Sam. They are also non-binary, and they were like, I knew it. Them and I have always been like this. We are very much alike. And they were like, you and I knew something was different about you. So I came out as non-binary, and then I've always been polyamorous. I've never really had to come out as poly, but I've never been able to attract someone who also liked poly, who was also poly, I guess. I'm very much in a monogamous relationship, and that's fine. Poly people can be in. I'm going to run through this list real quick in case anyone's watching this going. Poly people can be in mono relationships, and bi people can be in relationships with the opposite sex. They don't have to date. I don't have to date a guy. But speaking of being bi, it was also this year that I realized that bi means two. Now, there's many descriptions about bisexual and pansexual. Bisexual is its own term where you're attracted to most likely two genders, bi meaning two, whereas pansexual is an attraction to everyone regardless of gender, and bisexual kind of falls under that umbrella, and I believe I am pansexual because gender doesn't matter to me. If I think you're attractive, I think you're attractive. If me and my wife ever split or something, I would the next person I dated, it wouldn't matter what they were. There's a phrase going around and it goes, I like the wine and not the label. And that's how I am. That's how I became to the realization that I'm pan. I didn't really come out as pan. I just kind of like slowly moved into being pan, and just like now I refer to myself as a pansexual instead of a bisexual. So as far as my struggles, I live with my wife's conservative Christian grandparents. I wore makeup to work once last year when I was working at this big warehouse company, and they had a whole fit. No, it was when I was working at the grocery store up the road. Not at the warehouse company. I just dressed however I wanted all the time, and everybody liked my outfits. At the grocery store, I wore makeup one time. They lost their minds. I shaved my arms for my Frankie Stein costume. Her grandma just didn't understand why a man would shave his arms. And I'm just like, I'm not a man. Excuse me. And they were like, why does he have to put a label on it? And I'm like, because I want to be respected. My pronouns are he, she, and they. For those of you who are wondering, I still do accept he, masculine pronouns, because I'm still in that area. I've even done tests that say I might qualify as gender dysmorphia, because I don't really feel like I belong in this skin, but I don't really feel like I don't either. Like, I'm comfortable enough, but I want to be more feminine. So they just don't understand that because they're conservative Christians. They were raised a certain way. They're not going to be happy I Pride. Nashville, there's my wife. Nashville has a Pride parade in late June, and I'm going to be dressed completely insane. So they're not going to enjoy that either. So, you know, it is what it is. I struggle because I kind of have to hide this sometimes, but when I go out, I go out. I don't really wear makeup anymore. I've let my hair grow out naturally. I do have some wigs, so it's tough. And of course, social media, a bunch of jerks going rah rah, but that don't bother me none. I just tell them they need a hug and to go away. So that's it, I guess. My wife just came in and said we have a baby emergency. You never know with YouTube. You never know with this the way I do this shit. So if you are still here after this video, thank you. If you see this video and you are struggling to come out, haven't made up your mind, don't really know, take your time, do your research. And when you're doing your research, don't do what you read. Read and see how it makes you feel. When I read about non-binary, that made me feel happy. When I read about being a pansexual versus a bisexual, I realized I'm more of a pansexual. Same thing with polyamory. I think I'd be happy with multiple partners, but I'm perfectly happy with my one partner, with my monogamous wife. And that's the thing. I'm non-binary, pansexual, and freaking polyamorous. She's monogamous, she's heterosexual, and she's cisgender. And we're happy together. We're super happy together because we let each other be ourselves. So that's the big message, is be yourself. So I'll just leave it at that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And be gay, do crimes. This is JT Channel. I am JT. I'm very queer. And I will see you next time.